Hi, this is Dr. Doug Willen, and welcome to the mini course. You may have watched the introduction, which was just about 2 minutes long, but this is the body of the course. The course was centered around the theme of stress, but specifically, it's a question that I get often over the years where people are concerned whether can stress kill people? I mean, is that even possible? And it sounds very dramatic, but it is possible, and it's also something not to worry about in the moment-to-moment part of your life, but with a long-term look at the future, it's something that you should consider so that you could bolster your health, combat stress, manage your lifestyle choices, and make a big difference in how you feel throughout every decade of your life. This first video in the mini course is going to be specifically about the adrenals. And I love this picture of this camel carrying a lot of hay or straw. And the reason I selected this photo is because to me stress is like the straw that breaks the camel's back. And one strand of straw cannot break a camel's back, and neither can two or three or four. And right now we probably have almost a ton of straw on this poor camel's back. And there is going to be a point where even this camel could get injured by the units of straw that are stacked up upon its back. And so really this is analogous to a day of stress in our life, or raising children, or going to work every day, or neglecting self-care where you're not taking care of yourself, you're not exercising, you're not eating the apple a day, instead you're having a junk food a day type of regimen. And day after day, these little insults can either stack up like straw on your back and eventually reach a breaking point, or if you make more positive choices, like selecting good foods that nourish your body, self-care, stress management, that day after day stack up into a tower of health for your body to thrive on. And so that's what we're going to look at. So because this first video in the mini course is on the adrenals, let's just take a look at the adrenals. The adrenals sit on top of the kidneys. So if you make two fists and put them behind your back and lift your fists up as high on your back as you can. Here, I'll try to stand up so you can see what I'm doing. And that's approximately where your kidneys are. Now, on top of the kidneys are these little glands, and you can see them here in the picture. There's a right adrenal gland and a left adrenal gland, and they're glands. So the kidney is the organ, and the gland is the little winter cap on top of the kidney. And it produces hormones. So let's take a little look at that. The adrenal glands, also known as the suprarenal, right, because they sit above the renal, which is the kidney, they're endocrine glands that produce a variety of hormones, including adrenaline. You might have heard of adrenaline. People go, I feel like my adrenaline's pumping. And the steroids, aldosterone, and cortisol. Now, they're found above the kidneys, as I showed in that last picture, and each gland has an outer cortex, which produces the steroidal hormones, and an inner medulla. We're not going to make this into a big science video, but I wanted to give you some of the basics so that we could learn a little bit about this, and more specifically how it relates to your life and how it could be a factor in you either feeling less than optimal or getting a handle on it. You can identify that as something you need to work with and work on and raise your health to a higher level. So this man in the picture with the medical doctor is pointing approximately to his kidney, and the right hand of the medical doctor is probably very close to where you would find the adrenal glands. So it's more in the posterior back part of the body, about midway up the middle part of the thoracics or the middle back, and that just gives you an idea. And here's another fun picture. And those red glands are the adrenal glands in this photo or this image. Chronic stress, if we're in the state of chronic stress, it wreaks havoc on our mind and our body. And we all know how stress, you're having a stressed out day and it makes you feel mentally fatigued, but it also burns out your body as well. And your body is hardwired to react to stress in ways meant to protect you against threats and predators and other aggressors. So, when you encounter a perceived threat, such as a large dog barking at you during your morning walk, there's a part of your brain called the hypothalamus. It's a tiny region at your brain's base, and it sets off an alarm in your body. And through a combination of nerve and hormonal signals, this system prompts your adrenal glands, those little glands I just showed you, located on top of your kidneys, to release a surge of hormones, including adrenaline and cortisol. So if you really want to boil down to a real simple takeaway, the adrenals are often thought of as the stress gland. It's a gland that has a lot to do with the way that your body responds to stress. So remember that, if nothing else, the adrenals are your stress gland. And, if we had a bunch of endocrinologists here, we can argue and make that much more technical. Yes, that's true. But I'm trying to keep this real simple because the goal of this mini course is not to turn you into an endocrinologist. But again, the goal of this course is to, first of all, be able to identify that there might be an area in your health that's not working at the highest level, that stress might be something fueling or instigating or catalyzing that obstacle of you achieving higher health. And then in the same little mini course, we're going to give you some ideas of what to do about it so that you can do something on your own to improve your health and build that longevity that we all would love to have. So cortisol also curbs functions that would be non-essential or detrimental in a fight or flight situation. So remember, fight or flight is when we're running for our lives from a grizzly bear. And we need, when that happens, we want energy to go to our skeletal muscles. We want to forget about digesting food in that exact moment. We want to forget about when we need to get our laundry done in the next coming days. We are running for our lives away from a bear, and it's a survival mode. And what happens, though, is it also alters the immune system's response and suppresses the digestive system, the reproductive system, and other growth processes. This complex natural alarm system also communicates with the brain regions that control mood, motivation, and fear. So let me ask you this question. How often are we really running away from a bear in our lives, right? So we're for the most part, not living the life of a prehistoric person. We're not living the life of a caveman. We're not really out in that type of fight or flight danger on a regular basis. So how does the human body in today's world respond to that? Well, the answer to that is we respond to that barking dog on our morning walk. We respond to a loud noise of a dump truck rumbling by, and our bodies cringe and jump, and in that exact moment, our body, for a split second, thinks it might need to be in a fight or flight mode. It doesn't realize it's just a dump truck. So our endocrine system kicks in, our alarm system goes off, and as you can see in this slide that I just showed, it affects our immune response, our immune system. It affects our body's ability to have a proper digestion. It can affect the reproductive system, other growth processes, and even change the way we think, our mood, our motivation, and create a underlying level of fear in our body. So it's pretty powerful. When stressors are always present, so if we're always in this stressed out mode in our life, like we're always under stress, we always feel like we can't relax and be ourselves, we're constantly under attack as if we lived in the woods in the presence and environment or biosphere ecosystem of bears and lions and tigers. And that's not really the case, but it might be the case of your life because you're feeling overwhelmed all the time. But this long-term activation of the stress response system and the overexposure to these hormones that get released every time we're under this type of massive stress on a day-to-day basis. It releases hormones like cortisol and other stress hormones, and they can disrupt all your body's processes. This puts you at increased risk of many health problems, including anxiety, depression, digestive problems, headaches, heart disease. It can interfere with sleep. It can cause you to gain weight and not have the ability to lose that weight again. It makes it almost impossible to lose weight if you're under this stressful existence. Memory and concentration impairment has a lot to do with living in this overwhelmed feeling of stress all the time. So stress management strategies that we're going to discuss a little bit in the last video, but we're going to start with it here, is eating a healthy diet and getting regular exercise and getting a lot of good quality sleep are some of the foundational staples to give to yourself that will offset the teeter-totter balance. Let me see if I can get in the picture here. The teeter-totter balance of stress versus health. I once had a professor describe it. Now, we don't write checks as much as we used to because in this digital age, we're paying everything online through digital cards and digital wallets. I understand that, but I think most of you could remember a checkbook. So if you are constantly writing checks on a checking account, and in this case, that's working hard and not sleeping enough and giving to everybody but yourselves, you're writing a check every day that's expending your own energy level, and eventually you bankrupt your account. So the only way to combat that is to make deposits, and a deposit would be exercising on a regular basis, eating healthy foods, getting a good night's sleep, meditating, learning how to relax, learning how to give to yourself and self-care that will balance out that deficit so that you're not overspending out of that single account that eventually runs dry, leaving you physically and spiritually and emotionally bankrupt. And so it's just like balancing a checkbook. So let's go on. Practicing relaxation techniques, such as trying yoga, deep breathing techniques, getting a massage, learning to meditate, taking time for hobbies. A lot of people tell me, hey, I used to play guitar or I used to sketch or draw or doodle, and I never do that anymore. Well, now's the time to get back to that, not to perform for others, but something that feeds yourself. Fostering healthy friendships, having a sense of humor. Do you remember when we used to laugh more? And trying to get back to that. Some people, it's very therapeutic to do volunteer work in their community. It's a feeling that they're paying it forward and it nourishes them on a very profound level. Sometimes we need professional counseling, but the rewards for learning to manage stress is peace of mind and perhaps a longer, healthier life. Now, we're winding up this specific mini video. There's 3 more left, but I do have a adrenal formula that I made originally for my patients that I take care of in my New York City practice, and it was a list of ingredients that I feel should be in a formula to nourish naturally your adrenals. So we will be giving you information of that in the description and throughout this video series because it's something I'm very proud of. It's a formula that I made to help people. As I click over to the next slide, you'll see a little 45-second description of it, and let's go look at that now. My adrenal support formula was designed for people that feel overwhelmed, fatigued, exhausted, and even burnt out. It has all natural ingredients. It's a vegan product for the type of person that feels irritable. They go to sleep tired, they wake up, they're still tired. This product has all natural herbs designed to get your body recharged and back on track. Give it a try. So that was me without a tan. As you could see, looking at me now, I have much more color in my face. I've been doing a lot of bicycle riding lately, and I do wear sun protection if you're wondering, but a little bit gets through every day. We filmed that in the winter when I was pale as pale can be. But this is the This is kind of the 3-pack that a lot of my patients get. It includes a product to help with the stress and how stress affects sleep, how stress affects the adrenal glands, and how stress affects the thyroid. We'll be talking a little bit about that through the mini course, and especially the last video where I do give my recommendations, both in lifestyle tips to help the getting a good night's sleep, to help your thyroid, to help your adrenal, to help weight loss, and putting it all together. So thank you. We'll see you at the next video.